What's up, YouTube? Capital G here. So this is a well, this is the North American 2015 World Championship qualifiers. Let me let Jerome explain.
Earlier on in day one, including Exa, Enforcer of the Nekroz. Yeah, indeed, there are a lot of very, very cool combos involving Exa and Enforcer of the Nekroz. Usually, also.
This is Jarel Winston versus Jacob Feeney. I believe that this is. It says semifinals. I don't think that this is actually top four though. If I'm not mistaken, this is actually a match to see who goes to Worlds, because the top 6 players, I believe these guys lost in top 8, and they're playing to see if they can still win that that illustrious trip to Worlds. So, by my understanding, 2 Ritual Beasts made it in the top 8 at Nationals, and 1 made it in the top 4. So, people out there thought apparently I was kidding when I made that video.
He has foregone using emergency teleport.
Yeah, so Jarel, and we actually did a feature match earlier with Jarel Winston. He's not running E-Teleport. He's running Mistake in his main deck, mainly to stop the blue deck, the Nekroz deck that he's playing against. Excuse me. So, it looks like Jarel is going to open up with Rampingu, and he's going to, well, damn it, they moved the camera so quick. I believe he showed the ultimate Gaia. I could be wrong. But Jacob Feeney has, like, almost too much of one thing. Yeah, that is ultimate Gaia. Whereas he has 2 shared rides in his hand. Jarel set a copy of Mistake. So basically nobody's going to be searching anything like ever in this match. With Feeney having 2 shared rides and Winston having Mistake, there just won't be any searching this game. Is that a Shadow Dragon? Yeah, I believe that's just a Shadow Dragon. I guess he's running the dark version of, yeah, I guess he's just running the dark version of Nekroz. He'll probably set a shared ride, maybe a Book of Eclipse or something like that. Maybe we're going to see an M-Phase MST or something of the sort. Or it could be a Ritual Beast Ambush. Looks like an ambush to me. So he activates Ritual Beast Ambush, and now I wonder if Feeney set Shared Ride or Book of Eclipse. Looks like he's going to activate Rampingu's effect. So Jarel probably didn't care at all that his Rampingu died. He knew that he'd be able to simply get it back with the Spirit Beast Ambush. Looks like he's going to send Little Apelio to the graveyard. Okay. He now can contact fuse. He does have a Spirit Beast Tamer and just a regular Ritual Beast monster. So he can contact and do whatever he wants. He doesn't know that that Feeney has Book of Eclipse or potentially Shared Ride set. We could see a play where maybe he goes into Ultimate Kanahawk. If Shared Ride is not played, he may just keep on searching as much as possible. If he does change Shared Ride, we may see a play where Winston just searches once, then goes into the ultimate Apelio instead. So I guess he said Book of Eclipse, which means Jarel is now going to. Oh, okay. Guess it was Shared Ride. He's going to chain a Rooney.
He'll be able to get rid of at least one shared ride, but he still has the second one in his hand, correct?
Yeah, so Jarel will search, and this will probably be an opportunity for Jarel to get something like another copy of Ambush or a copy of Steeds. Simply give Jacob the card, maybe run over the Dragon and Battle phase, and then flip over Mistake, knowing that he's pretty much locking Nekroz out of the game, unless Jacob happens to have a Mystical Space Typhoon. So we know that he has that Mistake, and that Mistake is just going to do work. So he is getting himself a copy of Ritual Beast Steeds, and he'll probably contact again. I'm expecting to see ultimate. I'm expecting to see the ultimate Apelio sometime this turn. Looks like Petalfin is going to be sent to the graveyard. That card has so much utility. It is stupid in this deck. It really is. Upstart Goblin is played. Jarel probably wanted to search first before activating Upstart, not wanting to draw the cards that he knew he'd be able to get to anyway. He draws himself a little Canahawk. He'll activate that ability as well. This could just be more damage on board. All right, sending a Wind. No, wait, that's not Wind, that's Laura. Okay, yes, that is in fact Laura. Now I'm thinking it's clobbering time now. All right, looks like he's gonna contact. Now I expect him to go for the ultimate Apelio. He could go for something different though. That is in fact the ultimate version of the Apelio. The artwork on that card is actually very underrated. It's like a Laura riding on top of a big ass lion. It's like the ultimate version of the little Apelio. And I expect him to run over that Shadow Dragon.
Right, now that he has the Apelio. Multi-Apelio attacks the Shadow Dragon.
Yep. And he'll just attack directly. Even if Jacob Finney actually did have Valkyries, he wouldn't have been able to stop that attack anyways. And I could be wrong, but I think he just got another copy of Book of Eclipse, which is just terrible. Because it's like he has way too much of a good thing, and you can just see how Nekroz are tailored. Like all of these Nekroz players are built the deck to beat themselves. I think he's trying to search, which is obviously that's gonna make Jarel flip over Mistake. Yeah. And Scoop Phase. Yeah, we see a Scoop Phase out of him. He knows that his 2 Book of Eclipses aren't doing anything, so looks like he had a Macro Cosmos as well.
Almost definitely pulled I still had all these when he flipped up the...
Yeah, I think Jarel was trying to style on him a little bit. Like I've done that a couple of times. As I believe that's Hoban commentating. Where you're basically, you just flip over your cards and you're like, if you thought that you were gonna win, even if you got one of my real cards, like, nah, I still had all of this stuff. You weren't gonna win. But you can see just as the matchup goes where, and it's the reason why I don't think that Nekroz have been super successful, as I think the top 4 right now is 2 Burning Abyss, Nekroz, and Spirit Beast. I think the reason why you didn't see so many Nekroz dominate this event is I think that they're tailored to beat other Nekroz. You see that Jacob opened with double Shared Ride and, you know, like a double Shared Ride and 2 Book of Eclipses and, you know what I mean? But then going second, it's like you don't actually have a hand that can summon any ritual monsters. You have all of these side cards that you're hoping are going to be useful if you play into a mirror match, but they're not useful when you don't play into a mirror match. You know what I mean? You saw him only get 1 card off of Shared Riot, and then Jarel was able to play his Floodgate and just be like, you can't play Yu-Gi-Oh! At all, and I've got monsters, and I can essentially play a few cards in my deck to completely shut you down, but you can't do that to me. You know what I mean? I feel like every single deck has done that. You know, these BA players have done that. The Tellarknight players were doing that, so maybe that's why you're seeing Nekroz kind of tailor off at this specific event. I don't know if I predicted it. I predicted Spirit Beast to do really, really well at this event. And it looks like that's, definitely happening. So I already feel like validated with 2 Ritual Beasts, with Ritual Beasts taking 25% of the top 8. I feel validated already, whether the deck wins the event or not. I already feel like, I was validated in my prediction, especially if 2 of the players going to Worlds use the deck. Because we already know one of them is. If Jarel wins 1 more game, he will be going to Worlds for the 2nd time. And it really does show you the skill of Jarel Winston and his commitment in the game, especially considering that he pretty much stopped playing for like over a year. And then he immediately comes back and, you know, takes a trip to Worlds after doing a really good in Nationals. And this event had over 2,000 people. So, you know, this Nationals is not a small event at all. And this is personally what I believe is the deck with by far the highest learning curve in the game. I think it is harder to learn Ritual Beast than it is any other deck in Yu-Gi-Oh right now. People can refute that. I mean, I'm talking about like, you know, competitive meta decks. Maybe there are some obscure like FTK, OTKs that are more complicated where if you mess up one play, you lose. But like decks that can actually go, you know, like do big things and whatnot. So Jacob Feeney probably is side decking a ton. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if like most of those cards in his opening hand completely came out. The Shadow Dragon might come out, the Shared Rides, the Book of, like all of those cards he had in his opening hand, he might side literally all of them out because none of them were good. None of them were good against this deck. Shadow Dragon's not good against the deck. Even if you somehow set it and flip it, it's not like they can't just uncontact their monsters anyway. So Shared Ride is decent at best against them. But if Jarel's playing Mistake against you, then you know what I mean? I feel like his card's going to just completely outshine yours. And he's going to stop searching anyway when he has Mistake out. So it's like, if he flips over Mistake and you have Shared Ride and you just have a dead card, and your dead card is like, his card's covering so much more ground against your deck than your card is against his deck. That's what I'm saying. Let's see what's going to happen here. I expect a much better duel because I expect for Jacob to get a much more consistent hand. Those Book of Eclipses just weren't doing anything for him. Probably take them both out, like I said. Looks like he opted to go first. He wants to get his search on.
Because you want the additional card to try to find your Mystical Space Typhoons and that sort of thing, you still see them usually going second because they want as many cards as possible. Because of the games that they don't draw Mistake, that extra card is going to help you out so much.
So yeah, you see him just open up, probably going to search a blue card. All right, he does. Maybe follow that up with a Kaleidoscope. Nope, going to activate Reinforcements of the Army. Well, you know what? That he can get to Colossalus, and that can get him Kaleidoscope. So if he doesn't have Kaleidoscope, the Reinforcements of the Army will get him the Kaleidoscope that he needs. You see him immediately throw that Colossalus in the graveyard to get that Kaleidoscope, probably to summon that Unicorn, which means really no need to shuffle. He's probably going back in his deck anyway. Usually when I'm playing against Nekroz players, I don't shuffle their deck after they search. I tell them, like, when you're done searching or when you're done, let me know. Like, or I'll say, are you going back in? Now, I believe that's a Torrential Tribute in his hand, which I'm not quite sure is really going to mesh with going first and what he's going to do, because, like, he's going to commit a lot of monsters to the board. He's already committed one. He's definitely probably going to try and go Kaleido Mirror into Unicorn, which means he's committing at least 2 monsters to the board. So Torrential is not really a card that works with this type of play. It would work if he somehow went for the Daigusto Emerald plus Valkyrie's play, then Torrential completely works, because then you get rid of all your monsters and you change essentially that advantage into like draw power. Like, you convert your monsters on field into cards in hand. Thus, your Torrential becomes completely live. I think that might be the play that he's setting up for. I feel like it makes the most sense. Let's see if he'll exceed here. Plus, it also means that you're really not susceptible to things like Raigeki or Dark-Hole, which people will commonly side in against Nekroz, at least Dark-Hole, not so much Raigeki. I think he's thinking about... Alright, so he is going to go for Lavalval Chain. And what's he going to do here? I mean, he could try and go for the Genlock. I believe he has a cycle in his hand. All right, so he is going to, in fact, try and go for the Genlock. Now, keep in mind, Steeds can break the Genlock, so. This is actually the first time all weekend I've seen somebody attempt the Genlock. It says quarterfinals 2, so. Yeah, I guess that means the players who didn't win top 8, again, playing for a position to go to Worlds. So, looks like he is going to summon that Oh, no, he summons Brionek. Interesting. I thought that he would summon Colossalus, but he chooses not to. I thought he'd summon Colossalus because Colossalus is right there in his graveyard, so.
want something that can protect that play back.
Alright, he then opts to set one card. Play goes to Jarel. And this is where Simple Monster Destruction really shines. If he would have like a Raigeki, you just think that he'd be so far out in front. He has Tamer, Kanahawk, Bonds, Ambush, and Steed. So he already has a couple of cards, or at least one card that could get him from under that Gen Lock. He'll probably just have to play into a big play here. But then again, I guess there's a chance that his Steeds could get sniped out. So it looks like he's going to opt to go for Kanahawk. Not having a graveyard means Apelio obviously is not an option. I mean, you could summon Apelio and just ram into Lavabo Chain. I don't know if that would really be worth it. Now, what is Jarel going to actually send with that Kanahawk? But it looks like he has not drawn into his side deck yet. I believe that's the Zephyr Pelika. He'll probably set 3 cards past turn. Or is he just going to set 2? You might have to think that that could be a roll to Kree set. So it looks like he's just passing it back to Jacob Feeney, who draws... I can't see what he drew.
I'll put out something that doesn't cost me too much to summon, and then if you do anything too...
Oh, you know what? I believe that's Torrential Tribute set. Yeah, I believe that's the TT. So, not really seeing any protection for that Baronic or Lavabo Chain. I'm not sure Lavabo Chain really needs protection of any sort.
Nekroz, yeah. And normal something. It looks like he's just going to try to be as aggressive as possible. Winston used any mirror forces or anything like that to possibly punish this.
Looks like he normal summoned, I believe it's a Great Sorcerer of Nekroz. Alright, so he did in fact normal summon a Great Sorcerer. And Ritual Beast Steeds is used. Don't think you can use Torrential on that, buddy. Okay, so now he'll continue with the battle phase. Jarel wanted to minimize the amount of damage he was going to take. That's why he probably opted to use Steeds now. And I don't really see a way that Jacob can advance his play now. I mean, probably stacking his deck for a Major or Senju is the best he can do right now. But pretty sure that Jarel is immediately during the end phase gonna want to flip over that Ritual Beast ambush and try and make some plays from there. If he starts going into Kanahawk, then Jacob has to start trying to think about when do I Torrential. But if Jarel just keeps on Kanahawk shuffling, not sure you're gonna get a great opportunity other than the initial like ambush, like right as he does ambush. If you let him contact it, may be too late. So you see during the end phase. Yep, there you go. During the end phase, he's going to activate Ritual Beast Ambush. That might force out the Torrential. Because if you let him contact in the Kanahawk, it's probably going to be too late. So you might want to just Torrential now. And I think that wave of the finger means that that's fine. I'm not going to Torrential. I'm not going to do anything. So Jarel will get his draw phase. It'd be nuts if he drew Mystical Space Typhoon. That'd be the perfect out to the Torrential Tribute, which is totally not chainable. Or he could draw, he could draw a Floodgate like Macro Cosmos or Mistake. Looks like he's going to activate the Kanahawk's ability. And let's see what he actually drew. I think he may have gotten Elder. So Jacob Feeney might be able to capitalize off an overextension of Jarel. Now, it looks like a big trend of Nekroz players playing Torrential at this event. If Jarel plays conservative, he should have the inside track of a comeback here. If he has to play extremely passive though. All right, and looks like that's what he's going to do. If he goes into Kanahawk first, I think he's fine. I think he'll start stacking advantage. If he would have normal summoned first, it could have been a problem. He'd be playing into the Torrential, essentially. But if he's going to go into Kanahawk right now, and he's going to start adding steeds and ambushes, I think he's fine. Because the Torrential's not going to hit any. Like, you can Torrential on summon, and he can just chain, and he's still going to get the search, so you're not really accomplishing much. Like, keep in mind that Torrential is going to obviously make Jacob lose all his monsters too, so. Looks like he's going to activate the ability of Kanahawk. And Jarel will get him a nice little search. Putting those same 2 monsters right back on the board. Now the question is, do you want to get ambush or do you want to get steeds? We've only seen one of each. He's getting a copy of steeds. And no need to cut, apparently. As he's going to activate the Kanahawk again. This time for the little Pedifin. And you see that he'll contact once again. This time I believe he'll probably contact for yet another Kanahawk. And he'll just keep on stacking advantage. Just keep on stacking Kanahawks, and you just constantly get cards from this one card, which is essentially a fusion version of Infernity Archfiend. It just can uncontact. I think he'll pair that with its best partner, which is, of course, Ambush. And now you see the one ambush that Jarel played is essentially turned into 2 more cards in addition to a monster. You'll finally see the normal summon of Laura. Now, whatever Laura summons that's probably the time to Torrential now. Alright, so he'll flip over Torrential Tribute. Now, here's the thing. Jarel can contact using Ritual Beast Bond into a Pedalfin, which would totally keep him protected. It means that he wouldn't take any attacks. And I think that's what Jarel's thinking. Do I want to go into the ultimate Pedalfin and just be safe? I think I'd do it. I think I'd go into the ultimate version of the Pedalfin, the little pink dolphin.
Yeah, the stakes are huge here. They've already lost their topping match. This is the playoff to see who will take the 5th and 6th slot. This is one of those. Yes, this is the redemption round, and only one of them can redeem himself. Actually,
no, sir. Looks like Jarel is not going to play that. Instead, I think that he'll probably set 2 cards. I feel like the play in the Pedalfin may have been a good play there, but, you know, it's whatever. Jarel knows what Jacob is going to draw. He knows for a fact that Jacob is drawing the Senju. So there's no guesswork here. Jacob has 2 cards in hand. It's a Brio and I think a Unicorn. So it looks like a set. 2 sets. He's going to set all of his spell and traps, keep his monsters in his hand past turn. Again, everybody knows what Jacob drew. Jacob is probably going to search his deck for some spells now. Alright, you see him banishing Cycle. Maybe want to add a Kaleido Mirror to his hand. This is one of those times where if you had the mistake, man, you'd just be golden if you had the mistake. I guess you could say the same thing about if he had a copy of Vanity's Emptiness too, maybe. Yeah, I'm not really sure that Jacob would be able to do much against a Vanity's there. Especially if he would have played the Pedalfin, the ultimate Pedalfin, in just defense mode. There'd just be no way to get that thing off the board. Now, he can still obviously Steeds and Ambush into... Yeah, he can clearly just steal Steeds and Ambush into 2 monsters being blown up. Any 2 monsters. So, looks like he's just continuing to add ritual spells. Gets a Nekroz Mirror now. And a Kaleidoscope, I believe. Those are the 2. Yep, Kaleidoscope and Nekroz Mirror. It's going to activate the Nekroz of Brannock. And what's he going to get? The Nekroz of Trishula? He may sense that Jarel can't stop any of his plays. Okay, I was wondering if he was going to throw that out there first. Looks like after Jarel, or after Jacob searches, looks like before that, he may want to activate ambush. Yeah, I'm thinking he's going to activate ambush. Alright, looks like Laura. And he's going to get the little pedophin, the little pink dolphin.
Nekroz mirror is activated when he's got that written in the graveyard and he's search for a Trishula.
Alright, so he's playing Nekroz mirror. Yeah, obviously threatening with Trishula. He has the Sharit. Gonna summon Trishula. I'm not sure Jarel technically has to respond to this.
Right now, in fact, it actually picks 3 cards.
Nekroz of Trishula is by far the most powerful Nekroz monster, I believe, against strategies.
Looks like he used Ritual Beast Steeds to blow up Trishula. Alright, so he's gonna lose his bonds and he'll lose a card in hand. It's definitely gonna be a monster. Alright, so yeah, loses a Laura and then a Pelio. I believe the Pelio was in his hand. Now I'm not sure if Jarel could have foreseen a Trishula. Now I think now is when you do your normal summon, maybe. Now might be time for that normal summon. Now that Jarel doesn't have any way to defend himself, at least nothing on board. No, it looks like he's going to search for more ritual spells. Yep, that's what he's going to do. Knowing that he's only committed the Nekroz cycle for this turn. He still has, or excuse me, the Nekroz mirror. He still has cycle and Kaleido mirror that he can play this turn, so. Still has a lot of options. So he's taking cycle. And he can search for a Sharit with the Maju. So chances are he's going right back into his deck. There's the Maju. I'm thinking he's going to get... Nope. Looks like he's going to get a copy of Unicorn. Well, I guess that works with the Kaleido mirror, so that works. Let's see what he's going to do now. I imagine he's going to play the Kaleido mirror because that can get him to Sharit anyways. Okay, let's turn the volume up since I can't see.
That is Armatile.
Is he 12? Yeah, he's 12. He's most definitely 12. Both.
Alright, so he pays 12 stars. He knows that it's not that big of a deal that he doesn't get the search because he can just draw from the Maju and the Unicorn getting launched from Valkyrie's effect.
And around this turn, here he can also do the Lavalval Chain Lancia play if he still has access to Lavalval Chain, but because he used Gen Releaser, which was in the grave after that, he's already used the Lavalval Chain. Yeah, but this would be an opportunity to do that. Probably thinking,
Should have a second chain.
yeah.
He's got a bunch of options. He can go for Daigusto Emerald. That might be the best play here. To go for Daigusto Emerald. He could go for the Artifact Lancia play where essentially you stack, if you had a second Lavalval Chain, what they were talking about where you stack Lancia on top of your deck and then you activate Valkyries and then you draw the Lancia to make sure that you have it and your opponent can't banish. Instead, I believe he ended turn.
Yeah, I might have just traded the Sentry for a card. I think the 1400 attack level 4 might not be.
Alright, so Jarel has now got himself a way to contact again.
Once again, just draws the perfect thing to stay in this.
Yeah.
And I believe, can Pelio just attack straight over Valkyrie? I mean, not Valkyries, but I'm pretty sure Apelio can just straight attack over Unicorn because of its ability to gain 500. So he probably thought, all right, I got him locked down with my Unicorn, but I'm not sure that that's going to happen.
He's up to 2,300 now while he's on the field.
No, I think it can crash. Okay, yeah, not quite good enough. For some reason, I was thinking it would be 2,400. It can crash. Not quite good enough. He can definitely do some damage. He can attack over the Manju, though, at the very least. And you know what? I think Kanahawk would actually still work under Unicorn. I could be wrong about that. If he doesn't do Kanahawk, I'll assume that I'm wrong. Alright, he's going to contact. Let's see what he'll go for. So this is obviously in main phase 2. He does go for Kanahawk. Yeah, I believe that its effect works, even with Unicorn on the field. It's going to activate that ability.
He's a lot of managed cards. Looks like he'll be able to do a lot of Kanahawk effects. Yeah.
Alright, so Jarel's getting the Kanahawk going again. And, I mean, I would imagine if he can get 2 Kanahawks, that Steeds and Ambush will be the cards that he goes for. I can't really think of a situation where you would side out Steeds and Ambush, so I would imagine he still has a bunch of them left in his deck. You see him get Ritual Beast Steeds. He can already blow up Jacob Feeney's field. And this would be quite impressive if he won after getting Trishulad. And he's looking at Jacob Feeney's graveyard. I think not only is he looking for what he could possibly have in his hand, but he's probably counting his ritual spells too. He might be thinking about what are the odds of him having a Gungnir in his hand. But usually after about the third summon of a ritual monster, I start counting my opponent's ritual spells. I just ask him how many they have in context, and I put it in the context of the number 6. Once you reach 6, once I count 6 and I don't, once I've verified 6 in your graveyard or banished, I know you're not going to really summon anything else. Oh, hold up. I'll view that later. That was another match. I uploaded the Pegasus versus Merrick, but it wasn't in high definition for some reason, so I'm trying to get it in high definition. Alright, so looks like Jarel's going for Kanahawk number 2. Yeah, I think the Zephyr Pelika is the same thing as Laura, from what I keep hearing. It's like basically the same thing. I don't know the stats of the card, but yeah, it's kind of just like another copy of Laura. You see him get his Ambush, the partner in crime, and begs the question: can he just go into yet another Kanahawk and potentially get another copy of Steeds? Which is just insane. At this point, he just has to keep making sure that he's summoning different Spirit Beasts, that he's summoning different Tamers, and that he's summoning different Ritual Beasts, regular Ritual Beasts and different Tamers. As long as he's doing it, and there are a lot of them. That's why it's important that in Cross Souls, they got another card. And you see again, he's going into a third Kanahawk. Well, I say a third Kanahawk. It's technically the same one, but this is the third time he'll be able to search. And even if he was out of Steeds and Ambush, it's not like you can't just get monsters.
So he has added, what cards was in this turn?
Ambush and Steeds. So yeah, I don't know what is still left in his deck. Probably not another copy of Bonds, but whatever's still left in there, Ambush and Steeds, is what he's probably going to get. And it shows you that this deck really just is Infernity. I mean, how many other decks just search this much from one card? I mean, Nekroz do search a lot, but they don't search this much from one card. And you see he'll immediately uncontact for 2 Spirit Beasts, and then he'll probably activate the Steeds. Oh, and that was a heck of a top deck right there. As he'll be able to essentially fizzle that That was a heck of a top deck.
And it's
Finally, Finny gets a huge draw.
Jeez, yeah, that was crazy. Actually, so
thinking
now he's
doing it anyway.
chaining the ambush, so Phil.
I think he's trying to understand how the chain links will.
I believe that what's it called? All the monsters should be face down.
He's
Testing whether or not the eclipse has resolved. Because if it hasn't, he can activate his own ambush, and then he'll have 4 monsters that are flipped face down by book of eclipse.
Yeah, it's
and that would mean that Finny would be tasked with
Oh, he'd be tasked with trying to kill 4 monsters. I got it.
so
So it looks like, yeah, Jarel is going to actually activate ambush as well to try and make sure that he can get as many cards as possible. So now everything gets flipped face down. And now Jacob Feeney has to try and kill 4 monsters. Otherwise, he will let Jerome draw a bunch of cards.
right, so he can easily destroy 2 with his
Yeah, but then he gets 2 draws. He gets 2 draws to find cards
That's
like
a lot,
decisive
though.
armor, like anything like that. Decisive armor or some way to assemble. I guess he's gone through so many ritual spells. Actually, he might be pretty.
And that's another thing. If Jacob Feeney if he's now out of ritual spells, because you see he has cycle in his hand. If he's out of ritual spells, this is going to be really bad because I'm pretty sure Jarel has 1 more copy of Steeds left. And if he's able to get to another Conohawk, he'll be able to get to said copy of Steeds. Looks like he's revealing which monsters are which quite frankly, I wouldn't do if I was in a legitimate tournament. Maybe I'm just a jerk. Although I think you have to, because I think it's public knowledge. The monsters were face up. Now, during the end phase, those 2 will be flipped face up. Jarel will draw 2 cards, and then he'll get the draw for his draw phase. And as good as that play looked like it was going to be for Jacob Finney, I don't think it's actually going to work. And you see Jarel immediately just set everything. Oh, no way of stopping the attacks. Interesting. I thought that he would have had a 3rd Steeds.
Yeah, yes. What were those 3 cards? Does anyone know?
No, he just drew quickly and then set them all. So.
Yeah, I really thought that Jarel would have a way of he may have sided out 1 Steeds, or maybe he has already used 3 Steeds. I thought he only used 2. What is Jarel activating now?
Let's see what happens.
That's exactly the sort of stuff that happens every time we see Jarel play. It's just something that's completely unlikely and almost impossible. It always happens.
Yeah.
So it looks like he has the little Apelio. He'll probably try and activate the ability. If for no other reason, to maybe crash with the oh, is that a torrential?
He's changing the effect.
That's a torrential tribute. And you know what? Again, I think that Jacob Feeney could be out of ritual spells. Looks like he's going to chain a torrential, but he's going to activate the little Apelio's effect first.
Yeah. Okay, so now he realizes that. Okay, that's correct. That's good. Yeah.
And the crowd went nuts when he used that torrential, by the way.
Otherwise, I would have searched for another little catalog. He had that capability.
Now let's see. Jacob Feeney has drawn. Maybe he can get a preparation of rights or something.
Copies of. Oh, no. Alright, does he have a Nekroz of Brownic? It looks like he has a Brownic. So, Brownic can get Nekroz of Shrid. Hopefully, this would be.
If he draw a Nekroz of Sharit, mistake time. There's mistake.
Yep.
Was it a mistake?
There's mistake.
Activate cycle, contributing 1 Unicore to some of the other.
Alright.
Unicore attacks. And drills down to 2,400. Enough to the unit.
All right, so I believe that could be his last ritual card. Nobody's searching anything. Jarel is now at 24. He can take a couple of attacks, or excuse me, 1 attack. Scoop phase though. Scoop phase. That was an excellent game. Where it looked like Jarel was going to be able to get that game. I have to wonder where that 3rd Steeds went. He must have burnt through him. Otherwise, I couldn't imagine that he wouldn't have searched. And I don't think that he actually had a way of attacking over the Valkyrist. I think that might be why he didn't contact into the ultimate version of Apelio. So we're going to game 3, which has been a pretty good and exciting game.
That they overvalue it in later games, and I think that's what's going to happen in Book of Eclipse, and we might actually see it kind of backfire.
It's kind of tricky.
Now I'm kind of surprised that Jacob Feeney left in Book of Eclipse, because I honestly don't think it worked out that well in either game. I feel like it hasn't really worked out that well. Now, if I'm Jarel, the deck has been operating pretty well, so I still feel like going first is probably the right way to go. You see that Jacob Feeney has sided in hand traps like Artifact Lancia, which can clearly stop the Ritual Beast deck from pretty much contacting and doing anything. But then Jarel also has, he has the mistakes, and he has counters and stuff like that. His counters don't seem to be hand traps per se, but I feel like this match is a complete toss-up. When the Book of Eclipse kind of backfired and Jarel got to draw 3 cards, I was like, oh Lord, man, if he draws like a Regeki or something, this can definitely this pendulum can swing so far in his favor. Because if he can just book a moon, or if he can get to like the ultimate Apelio, I think it might be GG. Alright, so looks like they have shuffled up. Nice handshake showing sportsmanship.
And of course, obviously, the Dragon's flip effect is very valuable in this matchup.
The bounce card? Yeah, because one place they can't defuse is Condemned Chef.
Yeah, but how often do they attack with Connacht versus the Apelio, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say that I don't think Dragon's like effect is actually good. I think Coben's like it's not good. People aren't running Ultimate Akanahawk into like face down monsters. Like they're not doing that shit. If you try and flip Dragon over, they're just gonna uncontact. So it's like they can't do it in the damage step, but people aren't ramming Kanahawk into face down monsters. So, and they're never attacking with Petalfin. Or the ultimate Petalfin never attacks. So you know what I mean? Like I don't think Dragon's effect is good at all. You see Fairy Wind, Great Sorcerer. That's Manju, the regular Nekroz mirror, and the Nekroz of the Unicorn. Now, if Jarel has a combo here to get the Kanahawk, he's going to be able to do whatever he wants, because there is no way for Jacob to stop him. And if he has a Floodgate card like Mistake, turn 1, it's going to be live, because can't use Fairy Wind from the hand. It's not Mystical Space Typhoon. It's not a quick play like Twister. Looks like he's already contacting.
Which might be too late.
Yeah, he might be out of the duel by then.
Yes, exactly. Or maybe not necessarily out of the duel, but so far behind.
Alright, looks like he's already gone for Kanahawk. He's going to re-tag it out to summon the same 2 guys back. And I believe that's Elder and Rampingu. Yep, Elder and Rampingu. And he's getting himself a copy of the Ritual Beast Steeds. So, already off to a pretty good start. You know what? It just dawned on me. I never picked up Ritual Beast stuff. I'm gonna feel so stupid when Ultimate Gaia and Ultimate Apelio become $15 cards. I've been telling myself the entire time, like, pick up Spirit Beast stuff. I'm just lazy. I don't feel like learning the deck. I still know the deck is amazing though. Pretty sure we're going to see another Contact Fusion here, so I don't even know if Jarel should technically shuffle his deck. Because I feel pretty confident he's going to go into another Apelio, or another Kanahawk. Could even go into Petalfin, but nope. Second Kanahawk.
Well, then we'll know too.
Jarel uses it once again.
And he's able to uncontact once again to get even more cards. Or he's able to use Ultimate Kanahawk's effect to get more cards. And he gets the partner in crime, of course, that being Ritual Beast Ambush. I just feel like that's such a strong combination, man, when you have Ambush and Steeds. And you have to wonder if he drew enough purple cards to sustain this field. Like maybe if he drew a Solemn Warning, Chaos Trap Hole, Macrocosmos, any of those really powerful trap cards. He's already added a couple of powerful trap cards to his hand for free. Only setting 2, so maybe he did not get any other good traps. Could have a bunch of monsters. And looks like he drew a Senju and a Manju, so just 2 copies. Flipping over... He's flipping over Ritual Beast Ambush. He may be afraid. Yeah, he could be afraid of a Denko Sekka. And he's going to activate a Pelio's effect immediately. Now, the thing is about this hand, this hand looks like, it kind of looks like it's going to take a while for Feeny to set up, which I don't know if he's like, I think they may have said it already. I don't know if he's going to get the time. Like, he'll get the Manju, and he'll probably be able to get Unicorn on board too. But I'm pretty sure Jarel will immediately, if he summons Unicorn, I'm almost guaranteeing you that Jarel will immediately flip over Steeds. And I don't know if he'll be able to make any more plays after that. And from there, one back row, I'm not really sure if Jarel's gonna consider that much of a threat where he wouldn't go essentially YOLO.
Like, I mean, I will consider, yeah, just force that, and then Nekroz attrition let him when it matters, and that's
Exiton would be
that's gonna be fascinating.
I would think Exiton would be the play. Okay, so let's see what's gonna happen. If he's able to drop Trishula after this by getting his ritual spell from his deck, then by all means, it seems like it would work. Now, Jarel's probably going to have to do some card counting here to see if he can get Exiton or not. Okay, looks like he's going to get Trishula. And Jarel might have to think about responding here, because there's a chance he could Diamond Direwolf the back row. There's a chance that he could Exiton. So Jarel might have to count cards and think, all right, what are the odds of an Exiton night? You know, what can happen here if I don't flip over Steeds? I think he's kind of forced to flip over Steeds. Oh no, and he decides to just leave him with he decides to leave him with the Manju. Interesting.
Virtual spell card and Nekroz monster from his graveyard, which you could do with his split field. Right, his field.
Prevent something like Evil Storm Exiton. Oh, there was 3 cards in his hand.
Wow, he's letting it hit.
Okay, so all right, Jarel did that so that he wouldn't be able to search out any ritual cards, but he still had 9. Looks like Jarel's gonna Oh, is he not gonna uncontact?
Now it looks
Also,
like
it actually looks like he's changed.
He is gonna uncontact to Trishula's effect.
hanging out his hand.
Yeah, when you see that, it kind of
It
gives
looked
us
like
a feeling
he-
of acceptance.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Jarel is gonna uncontact, chaining to Trishula's effect, which will make Kanahawk resolve first. Looks like he's gonna lose. I don't really think anything in his graveyard's that important. So Ritual Beast Steeds. And what else might he lose? Now again, he'll lose some monsters from battle too, so that's a problem.
People just make rewind because that Winston might have accepted, like, acknowledged that Trishula was indeed resolving, and then tried to go back and split out,
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's
That's
forcing
exactly
to keep
what
the
happened.
Kanahawk in play,
Oh wow, that kind of sucks.
Yeah, it's not like it's a trick.
So Jarel isn't allowed to uncontact, which really is gonna hurt him.
Last time around where, or last game, Finney just slightly flashed the Brianna deck during that search.
And they made him search
And
it.
they made him take it.
Okay, so Kanahawk gets banished.
Play by the rules, it's when all the
Rampingu gets banished.
Calling it consistently,
Yeah,
I'm okay with it.
exactly. I completely agree.
And he'll probably lose his field as well. Ritual Beast monsters aren't known for having super strong defense other than like Elder. So yeah, it looks like he's going to lose his entire field. He would have been able to keep one monster had he uncontacted though. So unfortunately, Judge called it kind of like an accepted game state, or accepted that Jarel was not uncontacting.
Mistake might not necessarily spell out of it.
Looks like Jarel has another Elder and another Rampingu, so he's going to be able to contact again. Just has to make sure he doesn't burn through all of his contacts or his searchable cards. He's going to activate Little Rampingu's effect.
Or whatever it is, but Elder Rampingu just finds it.
And yeah, this would have obviously been a much better setup if Jarel would have been able to keep that last monster, whatever it was. He was guaranteed to have one more monster on board by uncontacting, sending Petalfin to the graveyard. I don't think they have time in the top matches, so I don't think we have to worry about anybody going into time. The question is, what is he going to go into? What is he going to contact for? I mean, at some point, he will need to get over the Maju. That's not a card that you want to leave on the board for multiple turns. He could stall with the ultimate version of the Petalfin. He doesn't know that Jacob Feeney's set is completely dead right now. I mean, I guess he could use it for burn damage, but that's about it. And I don't even think that that's a good play. So he's kind of hawking it up. And he's getting the Steeds. Monster destruction is always a good thing in this meta.
Time has run out in the round.
Oh, they are calling time. I was going to say, this has to be close to time.
3 more, which means Feeney will get 2 more turns after this.
So I guess time is in the top cut. Excuse me, I was totally mistaken. So it's going to be basically the player who does the most damage. And Jarel clearly can do damage this turn. All he has to do is contact in the ultimate Apellion and run over the Sanju. And I mean, that's damage right there. Everything else is equal. It may even behoove Jarel just to stall. Look at me saying behoove. My mom uses that word. I feel so old. My mom's like, it would behoove you to do this and this, son. That's my impression of my mom. All right, so I believe Jarel's. I couldn't imagine that he won't attack over the Manju. You see him activating what's it called? Rampingu's effect. Still has that Steeds in his hand. He also has a bond too, so he could actually do multiple attacks here. It's just I don't think he'll be able to get over the Trishula. But again, if you can make the ultimate Petalfin, that card is a problem, man. It really is. If you have a Petalfin backed up by a Spirit Beast Steeds, it's an issue. It's an issue. It's an issue for a deck that doesn't specialize in rank 4ing, you know, because then your opponent kind of has to like target it. For a deck that doesn't run evac device and doesn't really necessarily make Castel as consistently as other decks, it can be an issue for decks like Burning Abyss and for decks like Nekroz. So let's see what he's doing.
You might just go for Ulti-Guy Pelio.
Uh,
It's a fact that has more attack points than any other monster.
Yep, he goes for it, and it also gets another card out of his hand.
Yeah, but he could have set that effectively, right? Because it's a quick placement. Like the
looks like he is going to go for the ultimate Gaia Pelio. Interesting. I didn't really see this coming. Looks like Jarel might think about simplifying the game here. He's attacking over Trishula. All right. And depends on how many cards he has in his hand. I think he only has one card in his hand, though. Looks like he's going to set it.
oh, but he's already. Oh no. Oh, jeez. Yeah, because he banished the rock.
Is that, did you get Steeds? That is search for.
I'm kind of surprised that he didn't simply go for the ultimate Apelio, and I don't think I would even care about Trishula, but I guess he couldn't uncontact it out, so. This is going to be a judgment call. Jarel is currently winning, and Jacofini is only going to get 2 turns here. The thing about it is, doesn't necessarily matter what he summons. It's gonna get blown. Something's getting blown up by Steeds. That's a guarantee. You can bet that. You can bet everything on that. Something this turn is getting blown up by Steeds. The question is, will he get a search or not? That'll be the question. Because he does have the ability to simply search out Valkyris. It's just he has to do damage. If he doesn't do damage, he's not gonna win. There's a trip to Tokyo, Japan riding on this. And that face down fairy wind isn't going to do anything because both players take the burn damage. So it's not like you can even win off of that. And here's what's even worse. Jarel doesn't even have to worry about an Exiton Knight. Jarel doesn't have to worry about Exiton because Jacob Feeney has way too many cards. So that could have been the reason he might have wanted to go into this.
First way, you know, if he goes for a rank 4 monster, he'll lose it to the Steeds.
Which isn't the biggest deal though, because he loses it to Steeds, right?
Then how does he beat Dp-Ygo?
The 3100 attack.
3200, I believe.
And quite frankly, he's getting Buranic. Okay. I think that there's a chance that Jarel could literally just blow up the this monster right here, the Manju, and just simply run this over. I think that's a real possibility. I think this is going to depend on what Jarel feels most comfortable with as far as what play does he actually fear. Because, like they said, if he makes a rank 4, it's getting blown up. But I just think this is a really tough spot for Jacob Feeney. And this is going to come down to a judgment call. If I was Jarel, knowing that my opponent, I believe, just got Buranic, I think I would just blow up. So he blew up the one that he just summoned. I don't know about that. Obviously not wanting to let the rank 4 hit the board. I do agree with that, though. I agree with blowing up one of the monsters. I don't think I would have let him go to a rank 4. So it looks like he's going to activate the Buranic now.
Right, if he gets subclassless, he pretty much wins. He'll turn Dp-Ygo down to 0 attack and send you if you just attack over it.
Well, you'd rather just probably send Nekroz and Buranic if you can, because it...
Uh-oh, he's getting Colossalist, though.
So this card for Ritual Spell gets the cycle.
Oh, this might mean... Okay, yeah, he might cycle back to the Nekroz and
Cycle into the Unicorn.
Yeah, this is also another one.
Uh-oh, I think Jarel may have done goofed. Looks like he's going to Nekroz cycle for Unicorn, and he can rank 4 over it now. Oh, yeah. This is bad. He can totally rank 4 over this. Yep. I think he'll be able to rank 4 over this, and Jarel could potentially lose here if he just Castells it or 101s it. I mean, I'd have to imagine that he has to run Castell at least.
One more time before making the search. It looked like Valkyrie is the initial choice, the initial idea. He's careful to keep it firmly in his deck and not reveal it at all.
Yeah, you can't reveal it, otherwise the judges will they'll make you take that card. But I'm fairly certain that he can just go into, I believe he could just go into Castell. That could be the play here. And that could have been maybe why Jarel didn't make the Pedalfin play. Maybe he was afraid of Castell. I still feel like Pedalfin would have been the way to go. Because with Pedalfin, you pretty much know your opponent can't beat that card. Unless they make, like, Valkyries. Valkyries and Castell are like the only ways to kill it, for the most part, that Nekroz run. I guess Trishula, but if they Trishula, you're going to lose anyway. I felt like it may have been not the best way to use the resources. So we'll see what happens. What Jacob Feeney's going to go for.
Like several things we mentioned, all the other line. So, but I do agree that the omission of Castell is probably that's quite risky, but he's managed to get all this way.
Oh my god, he's really not running Castell? Are you serious?
Yeah. I actually, for a while, I considered...
But he could Diamond Dara Wolf, though.
Mace and Constellar Pleiades. Because it gives you a way to deal with... He can Abyss Deliver to, and pump the attack of Nekroz and Valkyries because it has water material. And just go about... Yeah, this actually does the most damage, probably. Which best to keep the monster off the
Diamond
field.
Dara Wolf, I think, would do more.
No, because here you deal 2200 with Dweller as well.
Oh.
So it looks like he's going to use the ability of Abyss Dweller. That's a pretty sick play. Wow, that was pretty crafty. So he summoned his Valkyries.
Yeah, and that's it.
The writing is on the wall. Summoned his Valkyries with the Abyss Dweller on field. The Abyss Dweller obviously gave the 500 attack to the Valkyries so that it could run over the ultimate Apelio.
Because
Or excuse me, the Ultimate Gaia.
I don't think that one card would have mattered.
I agree.
Yeah.
But it looks like he may have been able to get over Petalfin anyways. It's just he still could have, if he would have made the Petalfin, he would have been able to uncontact the Petalfin if it was in danger of getting attacked, which meant that he would have been able to use Steeds to blow up 2 cards instead of 1. So, I mean, it was a very close match, very skillful match. I don't think anybody can be upset about the results.